It is coming up on 741 here at KPEL. Nathan and Bernie in the morning, 232-1542 if you'd like to join the conversation with us this morning. The field of candidates for Lafayette Parish Sheriff growing by yet another person. Rick Chargois joining us in studio this morning to talk about his candidacy. Good morning, Rick. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Brandon, Bernie. I really appreciate you having me. I appreciate the listeners for listening to me this morning.
Well, we appreciate you dropping by this morning to have a chat with us. First of all, the question that everybody asks, why do you want to jump into this? Have you gone, I don't know, mad or something or other? Because, to jump into a political race, you've got
It's
a
always
question.
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, you have to admire anybody that's going to put themselves out
Yep.
and let the public scrutinize you because you want to do the job. I'm very fortunate to have come from a law enforcement family, and I've been associated with public service my whole life. My father was a state police major by the time he retired, and he served with the Lafayette Sheriff's Office for 15 years as a chief deputy. So as I was growing up, I was involved in law enforcement through my whole life. I was able to witness it as a child growing up and be involved in watching the administration of law enforcement. So by the time I was 13 years old, I knew I wanted to be a trooper.
Mm-hmm.
So I did get a scholarship. I went to college at Northeastern Monroe, but
I won't hold that against you.
I understand. But they were paying, so I went. But honestly, the desire to do the job kind of overwhelmed the scholarship. So I took the civil service test, and I was the second youngest ever hired in Louisiana State Police.
Wow.
I started state police when I was 19 years old, and I worked there for a little over 25 years. So I was able to retire with state police.
My goodness. So you've got quite an impressive resume already.
It was an interesting career. I was able to work in uniform operations, detectives, narcotics, gaming investigations. A little over half of my career was in investigations and administration. So it gives me a good base. During that time, we were able to work with other agencies. We worked multi-jurisdictional task forces. So I have a pretty broad knowledge of how to work with others and reach out into the community and make things come together.
Well, that brings up an interesting question, a really good question, I think. And we're talking with Rick Chargois. If you're just now joining us, he's running for Lafayette Parish Sheriff. We have all these municipalities that with their own individual police chiefs here in Lafayette Parish. Of course, Lafayette PD, Dusson, Scott, Youngsville, Broussard. They've got their own police chiefs. And as sheriff, you're going to be tasked with, I guess, working with those five individuals and creating a working relationship with them. What are your relationships like with those fellows?
Well, the interesting thing about it is because of my involvement with state police for so long, I know most of them personally.
Mm-hmm.
We've been knowing each other for years. One of the candidates that's in the race with me, we've been friends for 35 years. So it's not an adversarial relationship. It's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the other people, I know each of the chiefs personally. We've met, we've worked together in the past. And one of the things I see as the sheriff, constitutionally, he's the chief law enforcement officer of the parish. So it's his responsibility to work with these people, bring them together, make sure that we're working as a community, because crime is no longer an isolated thing. It crosses many jurisdictional lines, and we have to all work together. So I think the relationship that I have with all these gentlemen, and they're all good guys. So the cities and the electorate have picked good people to run their offices, and we'll work together.
Yeah. Crime in the city of Lafayette overall, the most recent numbers are down, but there's been an uptick in the parish. Of course, primarily as the head of the sheriff's office, you'd be enforcing the laws in the parish, the unincorporated areas of the parish in particular. What is your plan? Do you have a plan? How would you see yourself combating that trend, that upward tick in the unincorporated areas of the parish?
Well, we do have a plan, but first thing we need to do is we're going to need to go in and we'll have to do a needs analysis. We realize that there is an increase in crime in the parish, but we have to look at what kind of crime we have, where it is, how it's being committed. I don't believe in just throwing a bunch of police officers at a situation. It's not cost effective and it usually doesn't work. But targeted police activities are important. You go in, you identify where it is, what it is, how it is, and then you have proactive law enforcement to go in and take care of that situation. We need to remember that the sheriff's office is not only a police agency, it's a business. It's a big business. They have about a $60 million budget, and we have to be concerned about corrections. We have to be concerned about civil and tax. But crime, as I go through the city now, talking to people all over the parish, they're really concerned about crime.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to make a concerted effort, and that's where my background comes in. I have a long history in law enforcement. I know how to do targeted policing so that we're not wasting effort, and we're picking the right people to do the right job. We need good quality people that are courteous to the public, that recognize we're public servants. We work for the public. So we need to reach across and make sure that they understand we're there for them and we're trying to help them.
I guess that plays into my next question, too, because Lafayette Parish has some of the fastest growing communities in Louisiana, some of the fastest growing communities in the southern portion of the United States, even. So how do you keep in mind that we're growing at such a rapid pace while having only, limited resources?
It's a very good question, and I'd like to answer it in a couple of different ways. First off, Lafayette Parish it's recognized nationally for its business community and its quality of life. Well, with that, all of these companies that come here, one of the primary things that they look at is public safety. Is the community safe for their employees, their families, and things like that? Up until now, it's generally been safe, but like you said, there's an increase in crime. So when we do that needs analysis, we need to take that in mind. And again, we're going to only bring in what we need to meet the goals. Now, we also have to plan. We have to have a 5-year plan. We have to have a 10-year plan.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of the sheriff being only a 4-year position, you still need to plan long term. So we have to plan for the growth, work with the city administrators to make sure that we're meeting the needs that they have. The second part of that question is, you take a community like Youngsville. It's growing by leaps and bounds. They have a small police department. The new chief is doing a great job trying to develop it. The city council is trying to accommodate him, but he's not going to be able to meet all the needs eventually. Right now, the studies are saying they can meet it with what they have and what they're asking for, but they're going to have help from the sheriff. So that's where I'm going to offer, through the relationships that we've established, to go in and supplement these departments when they need it. That's kind of what the state police has always done, so I'm accustomed to it.
Before we let you go here, we only have about a minute and a half left. For those of you who have never heard of you, what is the one thing about you that a voter in Lafayette Parish needs to know?
First off, I'm not a politician, even though I'm running a political race. Everybody wants to say they're not a politician. I'm truly not. I've been a public servant all my life. I believe in communicating with the people and the people that work with me. The sheriff's office is the kind of agency that people don't really look at a whole lot until it affects them personally. So I want to make it more available to the public. I want people to recognize what we're there for and what we do for them. I want to expand the capabilities and services of the sheriff's office. I want to reach across the aisle in our community for those that are starting to distrust law enforcement because of what's going on nationally. So I will be what we try to term as the people's sheriff. I want you to be able to come to me. I will have an open door policy on both sides. And I believe in communicating and letting them tell me what they need out of that department as well.
Rick Chargois, he is a candidate for Lafayette Parish Sheriff. He's going to be on is it October or November?
It's October.
The October ballot.
October the 24th.
October 24th. Yeah, that's right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, thank you so much for dropping by with us and letting us have a chat with you this morning. We certainly do appreciate it. Good luck in your campaign, okay?
Thank you very much.
It is coming up on 7:50 here at KPEL. We'll take a 2-minute break. We'll be right back.